Welcome to Around Town. This week I'm pleased to present another service in town, and to explain that service I've invited Pet Pal by Val. The lady behind the name is Valerie Dawson, and tonight she'll be here to explain to us her new service in town. So welcome to Around Town, Val.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I arrived in Temiskaming about a year ago, and I moved here with my boyfriend, and he works at the mill. He's an engineer there. And so we've been here about a year now, and we really love it in Temiskaming. It's a beautiful place to live.
Good.
Really lovely.
Talk to us about the training you have for this service.
Okay, well, prior to our arrival in Temiskaming, we were living in Ottawa. And in Ottawa, I worked at an animal hospital called the Alta Vista Animal Hospital, which is a very big facility in Ottawa. They have approximately 15 veterinarians, 3 of which are specialists. One is a specialist in orthopedic surgery, the other one is a specialist in ophthalmology, and the third one is a specialist in internal medicine. And I worked at that hospital for 7 years as a receptionist, but on occasion I was also called upon to help with emergencies and assist with animals and this sort of thing. And I also worked at a cat hospital. It was a veterinary hospital specifically for cats, and I worked at that facility for 2 years while I was also working at the other facility. So I have lots of experience.
With animals.
Yeah.
So what kind of service would you offer to the people of Temiskaming area?
Okay, well, when I arrived in Temiskaming, I noticed that there wasn't a kennel, and I thought, oh, you know, what an opportunity, because I'd always thought about one day maybe opening up a kennel. And I thought, well, I think probably the closest kennel is in North Bay. And I thought, well, that would be a good opportunity to maybe do some pet sitting. And another reason why I thought about it was because a very close friend of mine in Ottawa has a pet sitting service. And she's been offering this service for about, I think about 5 or 6 years. And it's going really well. And a lot of people prefer to have their animals taken care of at home because it's less stressful for the animal, because first of all, you don't have to transport the animal to a kennel facility. Often when they're in a kennel facility, they're very upset and stressed. So this sort of breaks down their immune system. They're more susceptible to disease such as kennel cough. They can also pick up fleas, which aren't very pleasant. And the whole experience for them is quite distressing. So I thought, well, why not offer a pet sitting service in town? And what I plan to do is go to people's homes when they're away on holiday and on a daily basis, sometimes 2 to 3 times a day, and take care of their pet. I can also water plants and just keep an eye on the house and do that sort of thing.
Okay. A trick question. Do you own a pet?
Yeah. I love animals. I really do. It's my passion in life. I love animals. And I have 2 huskies. I'm sure some people have seen me around town with my huskies. I have a big Alaskan Malamute called Chemo and a smaller dog called Tiara, and she's a husky German Shepherd mix. So.
What makes your pet better than my pet?
Oh, yeah! I wouldn't say they're better. No, sometimes they're very disobedient. But, you know, after spending time with your pet, you build such an attachment and such a, you know, a relationship with them, and it's so wonderful. I think the human-animal bond is very important, and I also think it's very therapeutic as well, because they also say that when a person is upset or stressed, just the act of petting the animal will calm you down. And it's also very important for elderly people because, you know, if they're isolated, it's nice to have a companion. And one thing about animals, dogs and cats, is they give you unconditional love. Because, you know, if you've had a really bad day and you come in and you're absolutely miserable, the dog doesn't care. It still comes up to you and greets you, makes you feel good.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. And what's special about your dog, Pierre?
I'll tell you that later. What kind of animals would you babysit then?
Okay, well, I've had experience with all kinds of animals.
Okay.
At the veterinary clinic that I worked that treated different types of animals, like the cat hospital, it was purely cats.
Okay.
But at the other hospital, they treated dogs, cats, gerbils, guinea pigs, rabbits, snakes, big snakes, pythons, iguanas. I'm
So you're not scared by any of them, really?
no.
You could handle them all.
No.
Okay. How about any incidents in your life, in your experience that we should know about, or that are hilarious
You
or
mean
scary?
funny? Funny? Well, I
Funny?
do have a few stories from the animal hospital. Some
Yeah.
of them are pretty bizarre, but
Yes.
I did tell one the other night on the French show, and well, okay, I'll tell that one and maybe another one. Okay, well, there was one incident where I was talking about pythons coming in, these huge snakes. Well, there was one day, and this beautiful woman walks in with this great big python wrapped around her neck. Well, of course, we're all at the front counter, okay, because you're not used to, dealing with such large, snakes. So I said, okay, all right, and we'll need to find a doctor, to see this snake. And through the conversation, after talking to her for a while, we started to realize she's a performer. And she takes her clothes off for a living. Okay. But so when we went to find a vet to look at the snake, oh, no problem. No problem at all. All the male veterinarians like, oh yes, I'll see the snake, yes. Even though they'd never seen a snake before, they were experts now. Oh, I'll see the snake, yes, I'll see the snake. Okay, I'll tell you another story. This one's rather bizarre, but so I get a phone call one day. Oh yes, my little dog, he's mounted an Afghan and he's stuck. And I thought, oh my gosh. Like, I don't know if this is appropriate for television viewing, but this is what happened. So here I have visions of this little dog sort of attached to this giant Afghan. I'm thinking, how is that possible? How is that possible? Well, they showed up a bit later, and it's at that point that I realized it wasn't a dog Afghan, the breed. It was an Afghan, like a throw that you put on the couch. That's the Afghan? Oh yeah, he got all tangled up in it. He was all excited, and this is his little entertainment. I'm going, okay, and he was sort of stuck in there, and they had to remove it, and so that was rather bizarre. Yeah.
That's pretty
But
interesting.
working at a facility like that, you see a lot of very strange things.
Yeah,
So
I bet. Well, how do we get in touch with you if you want to make use of your services?
okay, all right. You can give me a call at home, and my number is 627-3948, and I'll discuss, what service you're interested in. There's more than pet sitting. I'm also offering dog walking for people that aren't able to walk their dogs, or either too busy, or it's just difficult for them to get out. I'm also offering dog walking. I can bathe dogs or cats as well. I'm not too good with the clippers. Like, I don't have a lot of experience. So if people want their dogs groomed, I'm not really qualified to do that.
Okay.
But I'm, more than willing to groom, like give them baths and brush them, clean their ears, clip their nails. Also for animals that may become, that I may be pet sitting, I can also administer medication, pills, and I can also give insulin by injection to diabetic pets, because there are some pets that require insulin.
Okay.
I had experience at the cat hospital because we had a little cat that lived there. Her name was Cleo, and she was diabetic.
Oh boy.
So every morning I had to give her insulin. So I know how to administer insulin, and
Good.
yeah. So I have lots of experience, and I sincerely love animals. Like, if people were, interested in my taking care of their animals, I can guarantee that I would take very good care of them.
Good. That's very heartwarming and good thing for us to know. Thanks very much for coming on Around Town.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. And for you out there, so if you're in need of Pet Pal by Val, 627-3948. Give her a call. I'm sure you won't regret it. We'll be right back. Hi there, and welcome back to Around Town. Since the beginning of the fall, different services, different programs have been offered to different kinds of people in town. And tonight I'm pleased to have one program for the business people. And for this, I've invited a member of the Quebec Police Force, or the Sûreté du Québec, to come and talk to us about this prevention program for business people. So, Martine Isabelle, welcome to Around Town.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us in a few words what this program is all about?
Yeah, I think it's a very good program for business people because it helps a company to feel safe in Témiscamingue, and it helps the employees too and the clients. And the Sûreté du Québec is there to give them some advice about things to do and about safety and security for company.
Okay. How did you get started on this program?
Well, at first it's the consultative members.
Yes.
Well, they ask Sûreté du Québec to think about a program for companies in here. And we knew there's this program working very well in Quebec, all the province. So we thought about this program, and it's a new thing in here, but I think it's going to work very well.
Okay. What is the most frequent crime that you and the Sûreté are confronted with in our area?
Okay, I can say there's 4 crimes that we see a lot in here. There's check and credit card fraud.
Oh, yes.
And there's a lot check fraud in here in Témiscamingue.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's hold up. There's store lifting.
Okay.
And promotional fraud too. And if the people doesn't know what is promotional fraud, it's when some people call you at the company place and they ask you to pay to have some publicity in newspaper or something like that. So you give your money to them and they go away with that and they never come back.
Okay.
So you have to take
There's
care.
also like fraud on the telephone.
Yeah,
People ask you your credit card number and tell you they're going to send you something, but they don't.
Yeah, it can be.
That happens in Témiscamingue too?
Well, not a lot, but it's more like they call the company to give them some money for the publicity. And they never publish your publicity. So,
So what will the Quebec Police Force, la Sûreté, do? What can they do for the people?
well, they meet the company people and they give them some advices, like I said, but they have a lot of tools to help them with that.
Okay.
There's videos, posters, there's little books like this that we can bring to the company's people. And we meet them, each of them, and ask what they want or what is the problem that they have, because it's different problems with the bank or the gas station, so we have to work
a different plan for different kind of businesses.
That's it, yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds very interesting. So I thank you very much for joining us tonight and telling us about it.
Welcome, thank you.
So people in business, we invite you to get in contact with the Sûreté du Québec and to get more information on this prevention program for your business. Don't leave us. We'll be right back with another guest. Hi, and welcome back to Around Town. And tonight, my final guests are people who are involved with youth in our community, people who are always striving to make things happen or things better for our youth. Jean-Yves Fortin needs no introduction. He's well known in our parish, in our community for his work with la Maison des Jeunes. And a relative newcomer, Philippe Rivet-Gagné, on my immediate right here, is a youth protection worker working out of the Centre de Santé in Témiscamingue. So, gentlemen, welcome to Around Town.
Thank you. Thank you.
My first question about the group home is, what is it?
A group home. Group home is basically a place for kids in need of a placement, a place for them to go when they need a placement, whether it's for protection, whether it's for voluntary placement, or a youth, how do you say it, a young offender that needs a place to go.
Why does Témiscamingue need a place like that, Philippe?
Témiscamingue doesn't have any resources for teenagers. Okay, when we conclude that a teenager needs a placement, we have to seek resources up in Ville-Marie or in Fugerville, La Tulipe, and all the way to Belle-Terre.
Okay.
So it's hard for kids here in Témiscamingue to really talk openly and freely about their problems because they know that maybe they will have to go in a foster family up north and lose what they have here in Témiscamingue.
Okay. What kind of a person would stay in the foster home?
In that particular service, in that group family, it would be kids from 12 to 18 years old.
Okay.
And you were asking what kind of teenager?
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Like I said earlier, teenagers who need help. Okay. Basically, whether they're abused physically, sexually, or being neglected by their parents, or they have difficulty with their behavior. They have difficulties behaving in society or something like that.
Sure.
And so that's about it.
Okay. So the 12 to 18-year-old that is referred to a group home does not decide on his own that he's going there. There's
No.
a higher instance, protection de la jeunesse, or perhaps the doctor or someone else decides that this person would go into the group home.
Okay. Doctors do not
No?
interfere with that.
Okay.
Okay. It's
It's a social problem.
it's a social problem. Okay. It's the responsibility of the social worker who decides whether the kid needs a placement or does not need a placement.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Jean-Yves, how is the project being financed?
The project, as of now, is not financed, or we have no funds whatsoever. However, it will be financed mostly by money that comes from the community. It is a community group house that we want to build. Therefore, the community will, well, at least we'll ask the community to get involved in money-wise. As of now, like I said, we have no money, but we are looking. We already have some place where we want that group house to be, and we will need to start our project. We was working on the budget today, and to start our project, we will need approximately $55,000 to start with. We have been told that some people will get involved, some companies will get involved majorly, major involvement.
Okay.
And the rest will be by, eventually, very soon, all our merchants will be receiving a letter asking them for funds or material that we will need to put in the house. Like we'll need beds, we'll need fridge, stoves, and all that, because we're starting at zero. Okay. So we'll need that. Then every year, it will be financed by the Youth Protection, who will assure us a certain amount of money, and by local money also, that we will go do some fundraising. Not major fundraising, but some fundraising every year. But to begin, we need that $55,000.
Okay. So, Philippe, how will the house operate?
Okay. Basically, what we're looking into is we need a resource person that will stay with the kids for 24 hours a day. Okay, a person that is involved that has experience with kids, and we need another person that will be filling up a day and a half, so that the full-time person will have some days off.
Sure.
How it will work is when the kid is placed over there, he or she will benefit from a service dispensed by our services, Youth Protection Services, and it's called psychoéducateur in French, and it's called psychoeducator in English, whatever. And basically what his job is to try and work with the kid, his behavior, his relationship with his parents, and try to work out the family system so that it works out and the kid can go back to his place and everything will work out just fine, hopefully.
Okay. What kind of cooperation do you need, Jean-Yves, to make this project become reality?
The cooperation we need is, like I mentioned a while ago, financial cooperation, but of the people is we need approval. Somewhat, we need some kind of approval so that we can go on with the project. I know I've been talking with some people already, and some of them, that's why we decided to come tonight, so that people will know what the project is and they don't talk through their hat. A lot of people have been talking through their hat so far, not knowing what the project is, thinking that there's going to be dozens of kids in there. No, there's only going to be maximum of 3 or 4 kids at a time in the house. It's going to function like a bit like Philip said, like a family, like a regular family. So that's the cooperation we need from the people, is some approval, and maybe sometimes even if they could give us a tap on the back to let us know that what we're doing is worthwhile, because we're doing it for the youth of Temiskaming, and so that the project will not be done in Ville-Marie or in Lorrainville or wherever. Why don't we do something here in town to show that we do support our kids?
Okay. What kind of timetable do you have for your project?
Well, we had set early on in the fall a deadline for Christmas. However, now since we've run into some few problems that we weren't aware of, legally speaking, such as zone changing and things like that. So that has to go to the council, and hopefully it will be done. Hopefully it will be done fast, that the council will realize that it is something that we need, and that the zoning that we are asking for, the house in particular that we have in mind, will go through, even if it's not a complete zone change, at least spot zoning, I think they call it in the jargon. So that's our deadline, is depending on that. That's when it's at that point. If it doesn't,
As soon as possible.
as soon as possible. Hopefully, like I said, we were hoping for Christmas. Now I think we're more into mid-January for it. However, we will begin our financial campaign as soon as we get all our papers in order, that we get our charter of a company and then a charitable organization. So once we get all that, that's when the paperwork will be coming out. So to let people know that we're serious about it. We came about a year ago talking about the project on Around Town, and now we're ready for it.
Okay. I take it the Ministry of Social Services is going to have a role into that too, like it's going to give the recurring budget every year, so that
Financially,
but you people have to get the groundwork, which is the house, and the equipment in the house. You have to get the home set up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
That's
our
our
main
job.
goal. That's the founding committee's role, is to get the house, furnish it, get the employee, get a board of directors, and once that is established, as of now we're just a founding committee. There's 6 members on the founding committee, and once we have all the paperwork in place, then we will have to go into a general assembly for a board of directors. And the board of directors will be naturally those who have helped us financially in a major way will be allowed a seat on the board, and then people from the area with some expertise, I would say, in that sense.
I understand, Philip, that already some Temiskaming teenagers who are experiencing difficulties within their families are not living in Temiskaming. They have to go and work out their problems somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
And that's a deterrent to their betterment.
Yes, because in order for them to go back to their family, they also have to work out a new way of life. Like for saying, if, for example, I take a teenager from Temiskaming who needs a placement and place him over in Ville-Marie, well, he has to insert himself in a new community, make new friends, new school, and new foster parents, and a new town. And that's a lot of work comparing to the work I have to do, and the specific work I have to do with the kid for him to return to his home. You see? So I think if the Temiskaming had the resource that we plan to build, well, the kids will be more likely to speak freely of their problems and more likely to solve them faster.
Well, I thank you very much for this interview. I think you've definitely shed light on the project, and for the people in town, everybody will at least now have a good reason to support you.
Okay.
And so we'll wish you good luck.
Thank you.
So that's Around Town for this week. We've talked about the business prevention program. We've talked about the Maison des Jeunes, or the Maison d'accueil, the group home project. We've also had a chat with Pet by Val. So I hope that you've enjoyed our program this week, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.